Tales from the Spacepod is intended for mature, open-minded audiences only. If you are easily offended, I suggest you turn this wacky shit right off. Otherwise, welcome to the pod.
Becky. Big Mac tonight! You guys remember that commercial? For some reason, that was in my head.
With the moon?
Yes. Yeah, the fucking McDonald's. And for some reason, I don't know what account manager was on LSD when they thought that one up. Is like, you know what we need less of is Ronald McDonald and more of this guy with the giant moon head singing Frank Sinatra style, Big Mac tonight. That has to be a...
I always thought that guy looked like Jay.
Can you move for a second,
I always thought the moon looked like Jay now.
Yeah, or vice versa. Can I mute? I don't really have a mute button on my mic. I can... Oh, right here. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a really... such a...
Oh, I know. I know what's going on. I got my AC on. Hang on.
Thank you.
I hope that's what it was anyway.
Yeah, way better. Thank you.
I mean, that's got to be a product of drugs, yes?
The Big Mac moon?
Actually, well, it makes me wonder how many advertisements that we grew up with, and certainly cartoons were a direct product of LSD.
I think John Mark's on something.
Huh?
Cocaine.
Yeah.
He said
late
cocaine.
80s, early 90s? Yeah, it was cocaine.
Yeah, it could have been cocaine. I guess that was a late 80s thing.
Guys, something weird happened to me. I was in that... Well, this is probably fucking dumb to you guys and maybe 90% of the people that listen to the show, but I was in a real-life situation where people were doing cocaine in front of me.
Weird.
It was weird.
Dumb. That is dumb.
Yeah, I guess so. That was dumb. I've never experienced that.
Well, it was a new experience. Explain, how did that go down?
I just ended up at... not on me. It wasn't. I'm not gonna fucking... I got a big enough problem with pot, you know?
Sure.
Keep it real on this end, but yeah, I was just after my Pac-Man tournament I run. Things get wild. I'm not kidding. This thing's turned into something fucking rad. But this guy invited a group of us back to his place to smoke a joint, and I was like, "Oh, rock on." We get there, and he's like, "Well, we'll go do it up in my bedroom." And I'm already like, "This is getting weird."
Zip.
Here, put this on.
We go.
Yeah, put this on.
It's me and two chicks, and we go up to his room, and he fucking has this giant mirror out, and he's like, "Who wants to do some coke?"
Nice.
It was so bizarre.
You know, if he really wanted to impress you, he should have brought out like a 12-year-old African boy to snort the coke off of the hip bone.
They're fly these days.
The mirror, now that is very 80s, very 90s. I mean, it's fine, it's passable, but if you really want to impress, you pull out the African boy, just the white powder chant, folks, all down over here. I need to get my microphone over here. I'm all fuckered up now because I feel like I should be talking down to you guys, but I need to talk to the mic. Can you guys hear me all right?
Stop talking down to us, Ron.
Right.
I don't want to jinx it, but we haven't had any echo.
Just.
Oh, speaking of that, well, we got a lot of stuff to get to at the end of the show, but what's
Are you going to finish the story, though, Chris? Well, so
That's
you
pretty
just
much
did you walk out? Or just
I just smoked the joint and said no thanks, and let them do their thing. He was not the only one partaking there, so there were other people enjoying it, but that was weird. Yeah, kind of strange.
I'm usually a no-go, bro. I'm usually balanced.
Yeah.
I don't deal with shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people doing coke around me lately. The younger people are doing coke, but
that's the big thing right now.
Yeah, never appealed to me. I've never been.
It's
an
better
upper
than
guy.
having someone surprise shoot up in front of you. That's a whole different.
Yeah,
I've never
level.
seen that. Yeah.
We go to different parties, Chris.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
You guys don't do that at your D&D parties?
What is that? Are you diabetic? My brother.
Drugs are bad. Don't do them.
Drugs bad. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a rather enjoyable show for you tonight. We are going to be talking about origins of bad words. Now, some of these I'd heard before, and some of them are, there's a little bit of nebulae, shall we say, around the history of them. And definitely a lot of bullshit surrounding some of these, some urban legend. But I did my best to try to separate fact from fiction. And we're going to be talking about a show long overdue, really, if you think about it on this show. Where do our bad words come from? A little bit of fun stuff. But first, I want to get to some news. But before that, I do want to mention We did have our second and final opening of the Forum's nude show here at world-famous Radar Station Gallery, and I will talk about the details involving said show at the end of the show. It was an interesting night, and you are going to want to hear all those deets, but I want to give a little shout-out to Rob, who has been a faithful Spacepod listener for many years. He stopped by the old Radar Station for the show, and he lives in California, and he just happened to be in town for a funeral. It was a sad occasion, but he was trying to find a little bit of a silver lining. He's like, holy shit, those guys that I listened to, that amazing Tales from the Spacepod podcast, are based out of here, a couple of them anyway, so he stopped by to meet us. Lyle was here, and we had a lovely little chat with him. It was really cool, and it was great to hear feedback. Like, he thought it was fucking hilarious how the last show we were yelling, test, to fix the echo, which there may be some tonight. We are still on the iPad, unfortunately, but so far, it's, knock on wood, it's been fabulous. You Patreon supporters are inching us closer to some new equip, and I think that might be one of the first purchases, so we don't have to do it this sort of half-ass way. But anywho, thanks so much, Rob. Now, I think he was Rob Arman in the forum. Now, I remember that name, and he even said he once won a prize a while back.
Yeah, it was Jason Lime, Brent, I think. A long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Back when we played for prizes. Remember the wheel spin? We were talking about that little app. And it would crash. That seems like, doesn't it seem like so long ago? It was only like last year, maybe 2 years before, but... Anywho, I will get more into the nude show at the end of the program, but we got a nice little picture taken together, Lyle, me, and Rob, and I look tiny in that picture. You know, Lyle and Rob are good-sized dudes.
I'm like 6'3".
I'm not tiny, but because of the forced perspective of me standing in the background, I look like a wee sprite next to you guys. It's pretty fucking funny. I'll post that online on the Facebook page.
Wee sprite.
A wee little sprite. But anywho, yeah, let's save some of those deets for the end of the show. But I wanted to get to some news first, and Juno has arrived at Jupiter. Now, this is maybe a bit old news by this time, because I had originally put this down on the docket for last week's show, which we never did. Things finally slowed down, and we do apologize for missing last week. But this is a super cool thing to even say out loud, that Juno has arrived at Jupiter. It's already been sending back historical, never-before-seen footage. And in this case, we're seeing the moons of the great gassy ball orbiting the planet. Now, take a look at this video. Maybe you guys have already seen it. But now, this isn't going to blow you away, because what you might be picturing is what is hopefully going to be coming soon, which is super high def, super close up video. But this was something that it took as it was en route. And what's interesting about this is you can actually see this very site with binoculars. I mean, you don't even need, it's not going to be quite that blown up and quite that clear, but one of my favorite things to show people to get them excited about space is I just aim my space binoculars at Jupiter. And you can actually see, I think you can usually see 2 or 3 of the moons pretty clearly around. There's something special about that. I don't know what it is, because you can look up in the night sky without binoculars and see big stars and small stars. So all it really registers as is small stars and big stars, but it's, that it's a planet and it's moons orbiting it, and there's something charming about that. You guys get that video yet?
Yeah, I'm watching it now.
Historical footage, because this is the first time where we've ever seen movement of the moons. You would have to chart them and watch them, and Galileo, I believe, was the one that discovered those moons with something that would make my $70 space binoculars seem like the fucking Hubble. He was putting this shit together with some pretty shitty optics with a telescope that took up, an entire house. Now, the probe was launched 5 years ago, and it's traveled 540 million miles just to get up to Jupiter. 500 million miles. I mean, how crazy is that we can even send something that far away?
It just seems impossible.
It's crazy to me that we can even see something that far away, right? Like, we can see something 500 million miles. Of course, we see further than that in space, but isn't that nuts? That when you're standing outside in the summer night sky looking up, that's how far them shits are away.
Yeah.
Space, man. All spacey and shit. And the probe will now start to investigate the mysteries of the planet with high-res video and pics and other testing equipment. But we have not seen anything. We've seen Mars. We're bored of Mars now. It's still amazing that we're seeing such high-res pics of Mars. But this is the first time we're ever going to get a close-up look at Jupiter. And I don't know, I'm pretty fucking excited about this. Have you guys been following this story at all?
No.
Now, the last
I
probe...
have, yeah.
The last probe we sent, I think, was in 2003, and that was Galileo. It was making some pretty amazing discoveries, like that one of the moons had more volcanoes on it than Earth. That's just begging to be made into a tiki-type painting, right? With dinosaurs and big-titted girls and volcanoes erupting. But Galileo started failing in the harsh Jupiter conditions, and they thought that they spotted what could be a giant ocean on Jupiter. So they were thinking, we got to crash this thing because it's failing anyway, and it may have probably carried some bacteria from Earth with it. And if it lands in the ocean, we could seriously fuck up any life that may or may not be there, any type of ecosystem. So they landed it away from the ocean. Is that not a terrifying thought, though? Alien bacteria. I mean, in H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, spoilers, that's ultimately what wiped out the aliens. When they were invading us, they crash-landed, they got out, let's inspect this fucking... this sea of anuses. But it was the common cold that killed them because their body didn't have the antibodies to fight off something so basic.
Yeah.
It would have wiped out their entire species. But so we have to be thoughtful of this when we send shit out to space. That creeps me the fuck out. Of course, going out to space, but think about what could be coming to. I mean, if we are getting shit out into space, and some stuff is coming back to us. Imagine what could be crawling all over that shit. That is fucking frightening, but I am seriously stoked.
That's how we get superheroes, son.
Or dead.
Or villains.
One or two. Yeah, or villains. But I'm so excited. I'm sure that's terrifying to you, Chris, the thought of an ocean being on Jupiter, but the thought of them sending so we talked about sending out little submarine drones up into space and maybe exploring, like the Moon Titan, for example. They think that there might be water to explore there.
Speaking of shit we've talked about,
didn't they say that I thought I read somewhere recently that the ocean on Jupiter that they thought was covering the actual surface of the planet was like some kind of weird mercury type substance? Like
it's all guess at this point.
Kind of a metal or something that's kind of half liquid. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they're guessing. Yeah, they'll find out hopefully with some of these tests. But what were you saying, Chris?
Speaking of things we've talked about, I think it was Moses that posted a article on our page that said, "Look, Chris, they built a space net. They actually did it." I don't know if you remember. We were talking about how they get down old satellites and shit. And I was like, "They should just build a fucking space net, like 2 posts, big ass net." Sure. And it was some story about how they pretty much did exactly that.
No,
yeah.
They built a space net. Do you have any deets in front of you?
No, I don't. I fucking just remembered it right now, so I'll bring it for next time.
That's what.
Well, Lyle's idea of a giant magnet can't be far behind, I guess. You put the space net up there, the giant magnet to pull it down. Well,
why not?
How fucking? I gotta hear the details of this story. Like, how big are we talking, and where is the net?
I don't know. I'll have to fucking find out for you.
Yeah, I'd like some more details on that. Well, speaking of stuff that's going to make your butthole pucker, I got a lovely little monster of the week here for you. While I'm reading this story, I invite you to take a little peek.
Uh-oh, my Skype connection's getting real bad, Ron.
It's not fish related, but it is creepy. Oh, maybe it is fish related. Anyway, take a look at that. While I pull my notes back up. Now, this is... oh, yeah, you are going to love this, Chris. Sorry about that. This is the Scolopendra cataracta, which was just discovered in Thailand, dubbed the Swimming Centipede.
Nope.
Yeah. It was accidentally discovered by an entomologist, I should say, on his honeymoon, at approximately 8 inches long and boasting a venomous bite. The newfound centipede is an unsettling example of how nature still contains a bevy of surprises waiting to be discovered. Charming, eh, Chris?
So charming. I want to have one. Not.
Now, imagine seeing that swimming at your stupid fucking face. I would produce something that looks exactly like it out my butt. This thing is like a turd with legs and antennae.
No.
Swimming at you. Mm-mm. Now, I realize this isn't even a foot long, but, we don't know how big they get. Can you imagine seeing this thing? I imagine it swimming sort of like...
Like a snake
what's
would.
the luck dragon? What's the name of the luck dragon?
Falcor.
Falcor.
Yeah.
Like he swirls through the sky. Kind of imagine this thing swirling.
I imagine this
murky
thing
depths.
to enter your body and gain control of your fucking functions. It looks like a parasite that looks like something out of They Live or I don't whatever the fuck
Yeah.
that.
What was
Invasion
it?
of the Body
hidden,
Snatchers.
The hidden.
Yeah, the hidden. Thank you. Yeah.
Very, very much so.
I think I'd be fine with it until it like got to me and then started like crawling up me, and then I'd freak out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
You
mean?
wait
That'll
until
do
the
it.
exact moment it's on you.
Yeah,
I'm fine
cool,
with it.
cool.
Still
Well-
fine with it. I'm getting less fine with it. Nope. Well, this next story is a good palate cleanser, and it will get you thinking. A 28-year-old designer, Sarah Louise Bryan, I probably misspelled that. She was inspired to create this special design, trying to outdo Lady Gaga's infamous meat dress from the MTV Movie Awards or Music Awards. She said, I really wanted the world's most unique and disgusting design. So when someone sees a design, they know it was me instantly.
Gross.
Now, she decided to make a dress entirely from donated pubic hair. Now, that may kind of
So she
sound...
pretty much looks like me when she takes her clothes off. Or when I take my clothes off, I should say.
the Chris F. Hart dress. That might sound kind of hot or cute to some people anyway, but wait till you get your peepers on this vomitous monstrous. Now, she accepted all pubic hair donations from her Twitter page.
Oh, gross.
And this just kind of makes me want to barf. Take a peek-see here.
I don't want to. Actually, I'm scared.
It's fascinating, but it's gross. It is gross.
Oh, it looks like
Natural
rabbit fur.
camouflage.
But it's patchy. It's like you can see old Red up there on the left. Old Red had a lot of bush to provide.
Right?
Wow.
It's just
Looks like fucking straight up roadkill, dude.
how could you really wash the pubes, right?
What do you
Without
think
getting
that-
them all over. I mean, these have to be dirty. So what do you guys think? Hot or not? Who wore it best? That'd be a fucking hilarious. Who wore it best? Show the girl with the dress next to whoever was
A dick
originally
or, like,
wearing the
no,
pube.
Who wore it best? Her or like 50
Or
dicks
Gary.
before they were shaved. Oh, like it buds fucking a little tile of them.
Good stuff. Anyway, what you guys got before my soup de jour?
Did you guys hear about Russia? This is actually an old
Be more
story.
specific.
Well, no, this is actually an old story, and I'm sure a lot of people have already heard about it. But in the next 20 years, Russia actually wants to build their own teleporter, like straight out of Star Trek,
Oh,
to teleport shit, just break down the matter and be able to,
a teleport.
send it somewhere else,
Yeah.
have it regenerate from, or just like Star Wars man, or
good.
Star Trek,
Good for them.
right?
Listen, you get 1,000 people successfully
Good job, Russia.
transported, and the Ronster might be thinking about it. But
Sure,
that's always going to freak me the fuck out.
right?
But you'd know. It's one of those things, you don't know when you get on a plane. Are you going to arrive there? Maybe. Got 6 hours to find out. 6 hours of sheer terror if you fly like Chris and
I always thought, even like growing up watching Star Trek and stuff like that, it's like, what happens if you ever got teleported like within a rock? Because like your body would be like really literally like fused into the rock, except for what wasn't around your
Well,
rock.
they
It's
actually
like-
addressed that in Star Trek because you have to know the coordinates specifically where you are landing somebody on the planet. So now they kind of let this go. But
Sure.
there's a couple
That's what I did.
episodes that they would, they tried to explain that where it's like, I need to see where I'm putting you on this planet because there was 1 or 2 episodes where they weren't able to get the coordinates just right, and they weren't like mingled with the environment around them. But there was Trubs. I don't know if it was Spaceballs Trubs. Remember the Spaceballs? Like he's ass backwards. Why didn't anyone tell me my ass was so huge?
Yeah, right?
Is there
Well,
new
it's fascinating.
Spaceballs coming?
Yeah, there is. They're filming the Spaceballs 2, not a reboot, like an actual fucking sequel.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah,
That
we
is
talked
awesome.
about it. We talked about it. Photo memory.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a long time ago. It's
It's been a while.
been a while.
Anyway, go ahead, Lau.
No, my whole thought was like and like the Manhattan Project, if I'm right with the Manhattan Project. It was
The Manhattan
known to say
Project
that
was
they made like a
the
ship
atom
disappear.
bomb, wasn't it?
Well, no, maybe it was something else.
Yeah, you're thinking
was-
of the.
Oh, you're thinking of the Philadelphia experiment.
The Philadelphia experiment, when they actually made the ship disappear and then reappear.
Right.
They thought that, what if that type of technology existed then?
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say that it hasn't lingered around?
Right.
And they might be able to do it in 20 years. It's pretty fascinating, really.
Well,
I'm sorry. I've been drinking a shitload of Red Bull, so I'm just like,
Well, I don't know. I don't know any of the fringe science at all with any of that stuff. Now, I don't know. I think we did a show on the Philadelphia experiment, or I remember working on one, and it got shelved. But I thought we actually ended up doing it. Maybe I'm wrong. But I remember looking into that.
Yeah,
and
pretty sure we did.
Yeah, it's been mentioned many times at least, but the idea is that, for those of you who don't know, this Navy shipyard was loaded, there's a ship that was loaded with crewmen and
seamen.
Filled with semen, long, hard, and full of semen. And they blasted, there was an experiment set up to test for invisibility or cloaking, and they blasted it with some sort of beam, and it disappeared, and a few minutes later it showed back up, and all the men were intertwined with the metal of the ship. Horrifying fucking story, and a great image. It's a great spooky image, but I don't know even the fringe or the parascience behind that, how likely it is. And that goes for teleportation too. If this is just insanity, it seems like it's one of those things that's similar to time travel, where most of the world's physicists just don't think there's any real way to mechanically travel through time. Like, it just can't happen. Doesn't mean it won't. There's a lot of things that was once thought impossible, but I'll be watching. Now, when is Russia supposed to drum out these teleportation stations?
2035.
Okay. Well, they got a ways to be proven wrong.
Yeah, it's 1 year.
Yeah. But I wonder what the shtick is, though. This is a pretty sad muscle flexing, if that's what this is, right?
I don't know. It's just a project they've been working on, and they said they figured with prototypes and stuff like that, it should be sound in 20 years.
Criswell predicts in the year 2035, man will be transported from Russia to anywhere. Yes. We shall see. We shall see you in about 20 years. Looking forward to that.
Did you also hear about Stephen Hawking had himself a little stalker?
I did. I didn't read the story, but a lot of people, I think maybe 30 people sent me a link to that story. I just didn't have time to read it.
No, it was good. Well, I guess one of his kids got very worried about it and actually called the cops on this lady and got a restraining order for like 8 months, but was basically threatening his life. So.
Oh.
What's
wonder what the reason behind that was. Hasn't the dude suffered enough?
Can I set that up? I wonder what Steve Hawking would say right now.
There is no reason to kill me. I am a helpless, innocent, very, very old and ill man. Now get me to the strip club. Maybe it was an ex-girlfriend, huh? Maybe she caught him going to the strip club one too many times. I didn't see the movie about him. I don't know a lot about his bio. Is he still married? He's still married, yeah?
I'm not sure. It says actually one of his kids, I guess, were the ones that reported. So yeah, I'm assuming he's probably not. But
well, he's famous and he's tied to science, and those two things alone, it doesn't surprise me that he would get a stalker here and there. He's a famous motherfucker. I saw a picture of him not too long ago, and even for Stephen Hawking, he's not looking well.
I thought you were going to say he's a handsome guy.
Well, he's 70 years old, so he's an old man.
And very, very ill. It's weird, though. It's like he's melting, It's just like more and more. It's like someone prop him up. He's in a fucking $10,000 chair. Just prop him up a little. The gravity on his side. I suppose few things are at this point, but anywho, God bless him. Lyle, did you have anything else before I get moving on?
I had one, but it was China supposedly has completed the world's largest telescope, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's right. I know we talked about them working on that.
Well, we'll probably talk about it next week then.
Now, this is a land-based one.
Yes.
Yeah. I love those. I don't know why. It's awesome that we got shit out in space, getting closer to stuff, but I'm really charmed by something that you can just walk up to, and I mean, I know you're not sticking your eye into a piece of glass, but still, it's I don't know. There's something charming about the tangible thing just sitting out there in the middle of nowhere, looking up into space. But
you really can't miss this one, dude. It's 500 meters wide, so it's like 30 football fields.
Now, this is a radio telescope, I'm guessing, or is it? It's not an optical telescope.
No, it's a radio, I'm pretty sure.
I wonder what the world's biggest optical telescope is, because that would be charming as fuck to sit down, and because you would be looking right into a lens. God knows how long the fucking tube would be, but because before
why fucking leave, dude? You just sit there and fucking like stare off into space for fucking eternity, dude.
I had a friend whose uncle was seriously into astronomy, and he had probably what got me into astronomy. He had a little observatory in his backyard that he built, and he just went out there and we smoked with him, opened up the hatch on a nice summer's eve, and, he's like, now I'll show you Jupiter. And it was fucking amazing. It was so much fun to just hang out there in his little space shed. Odd now that I think about it, because he was 50-something and we were 12, and he was hanging out with us and giving us booze and cigarettes. But I think about that shit all the fucking time. It's like when we were 13, 14 years old and hanging out with like some 25-year-old dude cruising around in his car. He'd buy us beer. He'd get us
Are you going to have some repressed memories come out here?
I wouldn't be so fucking surprised if something did come out on the show for the first time in my brain. But
did they ever say, here, put this on?
No, but I was told to get in the back seat many a time.
You want this beer? You got to suck it out of the straw. Close your eyes.
How's that work? I'm so young and vulnerable. But, cruising around town, listening to Pink Floyd with like 25-year-old dudes. And now, looking back on that, it's like, who the fuck was that creep? Because we thought it was so cool. Or even creepier, really, were the friends that we had whose parents would buy us all booze. Or Lyle, I know we have mutual friends whose parents would hook us up with acid. And
what?
It was like... It was like the fucking raddest, and we thought, dang, your parents are so fucking cool. Now that I'm 40, I look back and think, who the fuck were these creeps that were giving kids drugs? It's funny how age gives you a different perspective.
Yeah, it really does, huh?
Back to the story, though. The massive telescope. Anyway, I'm very psyched about it because China is actually having an interest on trying to find, aliens out there, or extraterrestrial life. Where we've kind of given up, with the NASA program. So at least other countries are still kind of involved with it. So
it's pretty much down to us in China, I think. And we've talked about it before, if China gets back there and discovers, well, there ain't no fucking flag here. There ain't nothing here. And all of a sudden, we got an interesting conversation on our hands, don't we?
Yeah, we really
Of course,
do.
I guess our government would probably spin that as communist propaganda and show their photoshopped version of... You can't believe anybody anymore, so... I wouldn't put it past China to fake that they didn't find shit, but I wouldn't put it past our government to have faked the whole thing, so... I think they're all a bunch of schmucks. Schmucks. Anywho, let's get on to my brief but interesting soup du jour. This is, of course, the history of offensive words. Let's start off with the mother of all offensive words. Fuck.
Flacken.
Say it again.
Flacken. I think it's a German word, isn't it? I knew this at one time.
Well, let's listen and learn. Apparently, most experts say that the earliest usage of the word traces back to Norway, and it was then known as fuka or fucka, and then Sweden had a later word called faka. And both meaning to copulate. And the OED's second edition, however, cites that fuck it. That's Fukkit. The earliest current spelling appears in a poem by Sir David Lindsay in 1535.
Poem? Roses are red.
A poet was the first one to give us the current spelling of fuck. So under the current spelling,
Jesus.
The usage fuck was made more common than fuka and faka around the 1500s. Now apparently, some legends went that FUCK, was an acronym for fornication under consent of the king, and then later the myth was for unlawful carnal knowledge. But that's all pretty much been shot down. So it seems to have come mostly from fuck it, somewhere in Scandinavia. Most interesting that the modern use of it, the earliest known usage of it, is the 1500s by a poet. There's a certain poetry to the word fuck, yes?
Sure.
Okay. There's just so many uses, really. I mean,
yeah, it's a verb and a noun. Speaking of verb and a noun, this next word has a couple of different origins, and that is shit. Depending on the usage, as a noun, it seems to stem from the Old English word skite, which I fucking love, meaning purging or diarrhea. And that makes sense. Now, I wish I'd known that fancy word when I was about to shit into the mouth of that young girl going down on me. Apologies, madam, but it seems my sphincter has prepared for you a most heinous skite. I'm going to try to bring skite back. It's like, skite? Where's your head? I have to take a most heinous skite. I don't know why I love those words together. A most heinous skite. Say it with me. Skite. Might have classed up an otherwise most unclassy happening. By the way, if I ever write an autobiography, that should be the title. Ron Evans, A Most Unclassy Happening. Now, again, a lot of people think that shit was an acronym. Now, there's a story floating around the internet that when crates of manure on freight ships would get wet, they would start to ferment, releasing methane, and the gas then built up below the deck. Now, if someone descended with a lit lantern, it could blow the ship to smither motherfucking reams. And as a precaution, the story goes that the transporters apparently started placing the letters SIHT, ship high in transit, on the crates, storing them above deck and decreasing their chances of dampness. Therefore, it wouldn't get wet and it wouldn't blow the shits up. That, of course, is completely stupid, though. Now, as to the verb usage of shit, this apparently comes from the Dutch word scheiten and German scheißen, probably scheißen. The Proto-Indo-European base sky conveys the idea of separation, in this case from the body, which I found interesting. So to shit something out of you is just another way of expelling it, I suppose. Interesting, huh? It's funny how
expelling.
It's funny how natural yelling shit is when something. But I did it today, and I was thinking about. That's funny because I was just thinking about this for tonight's show. I jumped off the ladder one rung too high when I was painting a mural downtown.
Oh, shit!
And something went snap in my foot, and for a second I thought I might have broken my foot. It wasn't that far of a drop, but I landed hard. Like I just funked straight down on it. I was like, oh shit! And then that got me thinking. Every time I've ever been in a situation where impending pain or possible death is ensuing, I yell shit. And I've seen other people do it. It seems to be such a common thing. I would wager that 95% of all last words is shit.
I've heard that before, actually. People pull like the OnStar dash cam footage of crashes, and it's usually oh fuck or oh shit. Like you hear those. I read that somewhere. I don't know if it's true. Makes sense to me, though.
I've said it before, like in almost dropping something on somebody. Oh, shit.
I believe it.
Or heads.
It's such a good, snappy word, and yet it doesn't take any less effort to belch that out than anything else. Yeah. You know, like, why not just... Why would you even say a word when something terrible is happening? Like, why would you even bother taking the time to alliterate something? You know what I'm saying? It's like, why not just...
Well, you know,
I'm sure sometimes it is.
So it's pretty punctual.
Shit. There was a dash cam footage that was up on the Wenatchee World website here showing there's an incident that started in Leavenworth about an hour from here, 40 minutes from here. And an officer saw some guy sleeping in his car in a public spot, so he just pulled up to, tap on the window, hey, you can't park here, you okay, that sort of thing. And he walked up to it, and, there's audio on the dash cam. And you just see him get to the door, and he, ducks and says, holy shit. There's no reason to say any words at that point. It's just him and his realization that the guy that is in the truck just lifted an automatic weapon right at his fucking head. And so he ran back to his car, and then shots are fired, and then a high-speed pursuit ensues. But that got me thinking again. It's like it's just something guttural about that word, about that phrase. And it's interesting where that comes from. I suppose maybe that plays a part in why these words stick around, because there are trendy words that, over the eons that have been naughty. And some are cultural. There's shit that, bloody used to mean fucking, basically. Get out of the bloody car in Britain, at least at one point in time, basically meant get out of the fucking car. Mm-hmm. Now, you would never get in trouble here for saying, get that bloody tampon off of me. Bad example. But, so there is some cultural things, but most of these are pretty universal and timeless. And there probably is something guttural about them, that it just resonates. They're pungent, crisp words. Another pungent and crisp word is piss. Go ahead, Lau.
Yeah, they're an easy thing. There's like one syllable, dude. It's like, fuck, shit. You're not like, oh my God, I'm going to die. That's too many syllables, dude.
But I even know, my mom never uses foul language, but she was in situations where just as a knee-jerk reaction, she belched out shit. And I was like, and shocked. And I was like, so even people that don't curse, where is that fucking coming from? Is it just that we've seen it happen so many times that it just seems like the thing to do? It's an interesting thing to think about. I suppose there's no way of possibly answering it, but let's get to piss. Now, apparently this comes from the French word pissier, which simply means pissier, which simply means to urinate. That's all there is to it. Nothing, no more mystery, no more pistry there. Now, cock. Speaking of a good, crisp, pungent word, of course, the word cock has had many meanings over the course of time, but it only took on its offensive meaning of penis sometime in the 17th century. Now, they think that there may be a relation to an obscure synonym for penis used in northern England between the 14th and 17th centuries, which was pillycock.
Pillycock!
Pillycock. Yeah, baby, suck my pillycock.
Oh, no.
That would surprise. You should try that the next time you're in the sack. I don't think I will. One of your dates there, Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, baby, why don't you go down on my pillycock?
I need no help from you, sir.
Doing just fine with your pillycock over there?
Just pillycocky.
Anyway, that would surprise indeed. Now, here's a neat little factoid. Interestingly, in the Mississippi Delta, until the mid-20th century, the word cock generally referred to the female genitalia.
What?
Occasionally causing awkward misinterpretations, I'm sure, by confused northerners, but a penis was occasionally referred to as a cock opener, because you would use the penis to get into the cock opener.
Sure. That makes sense, yeah.
And now we're ready to party. The same phenomenon occurs with nut, which generally refers to a testicle, of course, but in the Delta, I don't know what the fuck's going on in the Delta, but it usually referred to the clitoris or an orgasm. And they think that this is actually where the modern expression to bust a nut came from. Because
that doesn't make sense.
Busting a vagina. You're busting a clitoris.
It makes more sense that my nut is busting and my seed is spilling. Come on.
I never thought... I don't really buy it on either end, if I'm being honest. I don't feel like when I'm shooting my load, I'm busting anything. And
busting's a fucking... It's a slang. I'm busting a nut.
Well, sure, but...
All these things just sound gross anyway.
John Mark's internet connection is busting a nut all over us tonight.
Does that not make you moist, John Mark?
Moist.
No.
Another amazing word. That should be on this fucking list. That offends more people than fuck.
What was it, moist?
Moist, yeah. People hate that fucking word. Seriously, though, what the fuck is going on in the Mississippi Delta? That cock means pussy, and busting a nut means rubbing a clit.
I don't know.
You guys are screwy down there. Yeah. That's where the blues comes from. Now, while less offensive to most, the word fart has a pretty intriguing history. And early on, it was most often said as part of a phrase, and the phrase was fart and fist. And these
Say it every
words, and these words came from old German words "frata" and "fisa." A fart meant to break wind loudly, and fisting meant to break wind quietly. Now, it's impossible for our modern ears to hear the word fisting without thinking of shoving your entire hand up something.
Have you,
If you
as
said
a
you were going to
kid,
step outside and fist yourself up.
as a kid, have you ever farted in your hand and like opened it up in front of somebody?
Yes, only as a kid. That trick still works, Lyle.
It works. Just don't try it on kids.
Gross.
Or do.
I thought you said don't try it on kids for a minute. Hey, smell this, kid. Smell it.
Targets, how can you not?
And yeah,
Much
farts
prefer
are
not to.
So don't do that either.
Yeah, but anyway, so for some reason the fist part of fart and fist fell away, sort of like Hollywood land where we got rid of the land. But the word fart goes at least 800 years ago. It does. For some reason, fart seems like a new word to me, like a cartoon era word, doesn't it?
A bit made up in the.
Well, sure, at least 1900s or something.
Mm-hmm.
Fart.
What were you gonna say, Chris?
It sounds like something that should have been like in the old Western era, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Moving on to a more dubious F word, faggot. Now, most of us have heard the whole bundle of sticks or a cigarette for fag,
Sure.
usage. But why and when did it become a slur for gay? Well, even going back to the late 16th century, the word was used as a pejorative, but mostly toward women. I think this is kind of interesting, specifically old hags, if you will. Most experts think that this is what morphed into the gay slur. In other words, they were comparing a fancy man or a man that they disapproved of. They were comparing him to an old hag. So another version is based on the practice of fagging in British private schools, where younger boys performed sometimes potentially sexual duties for older boys. That was known as
potentially
fagging.
sexual.
I don't know where that developed, but regardless of the history, the word didn't appear in print as a gay slur until 1914. So relatively new, but I think that's interesting that they were able to trace it back based on old hag. Now on to the infamous N-word. Not much surprise here, really. Once you had the Latin root, you got past Negro. It was more or less a shortening or a variation of it. But again, that's a powerful and potent sounding word. And yes, it's it's impossible to separate our modern association with it and what it's come to represent, but I think it is one of those words that's just pungent enough to resonate, because there's a lot of racial slurs specifically aimed at black people that don't nearly get used as much as that has. And it's been adopted as, slang. I don't know if this is probably a rap thing more than anything, but it has become so culturally divisive. It's a strange word, because we all, as whitey, we all avoid these words like the fucking plague, and yet you hear them all the time. There's not many words that we're told are horrible and you should avoid at all costs that you hear all the time, right? Like all over the place in pop culture, like in pop music. It's edited when you hear it on the radio, but the top 40 music right now is loaded with edited N-words. That's pretty crazy, considering that I think if you asked 1,000 people what the most offensive word is, I think you would see that way above fuck or shit, or even cunt, whatever pungent, nasty word people say that get troubled by. I would wager that that's probably number one. And yet we hear it all the fucking time. It's kind of an interesting cultural thing. Speaking of cunt, this one probably... Next to anything that is a slur, I would say that cunt is probably one of the most hated words in my circle of friends. This one goes way back to England in the early 1200s, and the etymology here is a little confusing, so I'm just straight up going to read from the cunt Wikipedia page. And yes, folks, there is a cunt Wikipedia page.
Thank God.
So, it says, the etymology of cunt... I should do this in a British accent, but it's confusing enough. The etymology of cunt is a matter of some debate, but most sources consider the word to have derived from a Germanic word, kunto or kuntan, which appeared as Kunta in Old Norse. Scholars are uncertain of the origin of the Proto-Germanic form itself, and there are cognates in most Germanic languages, such as Swedish, blah, 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 just about every other language. So every language has a version of this. There's Kunta, Kunter, Kot, 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 and Kaut. But the etymology of the Proto-Germanic term is disputed, and it may have arisen by Grimm's Law operating on Proto-Indo-European root. Is this not the most confusing fucking thing? I don't even know what any of this means, to be honest. It goes on, blah, blah, blah. Relationships to similar-sounding words, which makes sense, including some it's probably most likely this explanation. The Proto-Indo-European root for gynecology was gunna. And then that translated to kunta in another language, and that's probably where it came from. Other Latin words related to cunnis are thought to be where it came from, which means to fasten with a wedge. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and go down on your gal pal tonight, and I dare you to call it the wedge. Dare you. Now, in Middle English, cunt appeared with many spellings, such as cayonta, cunte, and quente, which did not always reflect the actual pronunciation of the word. That's basically a lot of fancy for, oh. Sometimes Wikipedia just doesn't fucking know.
Yeah.
And I appreciate their honesty. But for such a strong word, I like that it's a pretty muddy history as to where it came from. That one seems to be pretty old, too. I mean, they know that it goes back to the 1200s. But anywho. And finally, another racial slur, gook. Now, this is one that I grew up hearing all the time. I suppose, I was born right when the Vietnam War was wrapping up. So, by the time I was old enough to know words, there was a lot of dudes hanging around that were over in Vietnam or felt strongly against Vietnam, and the word gook was just thrown around all the fucking time. I almost never hear it now. But this is one I thought best just to read right off the site as well, and I found this on Listverse. It is generally accepted to be an Americanism. One pop etymology states that the word originates from the Korean War, from the Korean word hanguk, or hanguk, or the Korean word for America, miguk, which the soldiers apparently heard as miguk. However, while the usage of gook may have been strengthened by the American experience in Korea, it has a longer history. U.S. troops fighting in the Philippines during the Spanish-American War also used the word, possibly derived from gugu, which was how the U.S. soldiers mocked the sounds of the local languages and described Filipinos during that conflict, particularly those with no admixture of European blood. It may have derived from the expression gobbledygook as well. This is pretty much exactly what the ancient Greeks used to make fun of speakers of foreign languages, which they described as barbar, hence the English word barbarian. Gook was used to describe prostitutes following military camps and was defined in 1914 as a tramp or of someone of low quality. Pretty interesting. I love etymology. It's fascinating to know where our words come from. It's something that we take for granted all the fucking time. And it's such, the English language especially is such a hybrid of so many, there's Latin roots, there's Greek roots, there's... We have made up so many half words. We probably have more half words or invented Americanisms or Englishisms, I should say. Well, that was an Americanism right there. To sum up English as American. Good Lord, I need to travel. But it's like you always hear that the English language is the hardest language to learn. That's probably because we have so much fucking slang.
The rules contradict themselves constantly, too.
Yeah.
There's all the I before E, sometimes for C, and only sometimes,
And red versus red.
All kinds of shit.
Or read versus red.
Yeah, it's like rough, laugh, cough, and all that shit. I don't know.
Yeah. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. And eventually I meant to do an addendum to this list with troubling or offensive phrases. We'll do that on a separate show. We're looking at a pretty good time to get into some news quiz, though, right now.
All right, I have some great photos and video clips to go along with this one here. I'm going to start you off with a photo of the first story we're going to talk about here. Okay, question one. An 18-year-old... this is the Florida Daily Double.
Ooh, right off the bat.
Ding, 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 ding.
Been a while, too.
It's been too long, yeah. It's been a while.
Oh, dear. This looks troubling already.
Okay, an 18-year-old Florida man landed himself in the hospital and had a face that looked like this after he decided to do this. Was it A, eat a hornet's nest in its entirety on a dare?
Oh, that is a fucking dare.
B, kiss a cottonmouth snake he had caught on the mouth?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
not a good idea.
B, he stumbled into an electric barbed fence while playing Pokemon Snap?
BT dubs, that is
That shit
fucking everywhere.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, all of a sudden, everywhere.
Fucking blew up. Ronster.
Boy. I gotta go with A. I mean, they all play, but I'm gonna go with these motherfuckers tried to eat a
Like an
beehive
apple.
because I love that answer, even if it's dead fucking wrong. I respect the hell out of that option.
All right, I like your reasoning there.
It stings my mouth.
I gotta keep going for the brotherhood.
Steak. They're gonna kick my ass.
Joe Mark.
Acceptance.
What was A?
Eat a hornet's nest in its entirety on a dare?
I'm going to go with B.
Cottonmouth snake. Give him a little kissy kiss.
Mm.
Yeah, smooch.
Lyle?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with B also. I can analyze it for you, but I won't.
Thank you? Question mark.
Zip.
All right, question 2. A surveillance video in Phoenix, Arizona captured an argument between a man and a woman a few weeks back. The man had just informed his girlfriend that he was HIV positive. Now, the video captured her physical response to this, which included one of the following. Was it A, the man getting flipped head over heels as she ran through him with her car?
Oh, yeah. Head over heels.
B, the woman knocking the man out cold by straight up dick punching him?
Ooh, I have been hit pretty hard in the dick. Boy, that is bad to make you pass out, though.
Hadouken!
And good night.
C, the woman chained the man to a pipe in an attempt to cut off his hand, ISIS style.
Dude didn't already suffer enough. Although, fuck. What a grim question. I'm going to go with A again.
All right.
That seems like these type of things tend to be spur of the moment. Some of those others are a little bit more calculated.
That's true. Joe Mark?
B was the dick punch, right?
Correct.
It's pretty spontaneous, too. Though.
I'm going to go with that.
All right.
And appropriate.
I'm gonna
if you
go
think
with that.
about it.
Lyle?
I'm going to go with the car. This makes sense.
Okay. Question 3. There's a group of women that have organized a political movement recently. If you vote for anybody but Trump, they will do this for you. Say A, send you nudies.
Mm-hmm.
Ron's like, come here.
Get some Trump pumps, huh? Mm-hmm.
B, pose as your girlfriend in doctored online photos.
Yeah, little Trump pump. Huh?
Photoshop. All right.
I've done that
Or
before.
C, have your initials tattooed on their bodies in a very small font.
Ooh, like their rump? Trump rump? Okay. I think, boy, am I going to go straight A's? I might go straight A's, son.
All right,
I'm
we'll see
going
what
A again. I think that's fair. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good trade.
Joe Mark?
I'm going to switch it up and go with A.
All right. Lyle?
I'm going with the boobs, sir.
Yeah.
Nudie pigs.
You kind of have to, right? All right. All right, last question of the night here. A university in China has spent nearly $1 million installing surveillance systems into their classrooms and dormitories to ensure that students are doing this. Is it A, studying hard?
In the dorms.
Mm-hmm.
I like this program.
Is it B, not playing World of Warcraft?
Okay.
Or is it C, not canoodling with other students?
This is a university.
Yes. In China.
How can... in China.
Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken.
Well, in China, they could be 13.
Yeah.
Right?
They could be.
Because I was thinking, what business is it what college students are doing? In their own private times. Boy.
China, man. China.
China man does whatever China can. Oh, dear. I realize you weren't saying Chinaman, by the way. Shit.
No, I would have said a Chinese man.
I like that's right. I like the World of Warcraft angle, but that I gotta go with C.
Not
Your people aren't fucking big. I mean, what else? Why would they care about any of it? So A was what they were doing homework. B was not snuggling. Why you? You know what? I'm going all A's. Fuck it, all A's because this is China and they are crazy about education. So yeah, straight fucking A's, motherfucker.
Fucking straight up analyze that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. Taking my job. What the fuck?
John Mark?
There can be an occasional Ronald Lyles.
I'll go with C.
You're going with not playing World of Warcraft. All right, loud.
No, C.
Oh, C.
C.
Not canoodling with others.
C.
You got it, bro.
Si, senor. I'm going to...
Put the gun down, John Mark. Jesus.
I'm about to pull the trigger.
I'm about to bust a nut.
That means rub a clit.
I wish there was a thing there. Ding.
Don't you know?
Rub a clit.
Why don't you suck my cock opener? Henceforth, ladies.
Okay, John Mark.
I admit it's fun to say.
Lyle.
Cock opening. I'm gonna go with C.
Okay.
Just because.
Let's go over the answers here. See how you guys did. Question 1. An 18-year-old Florida man landed himself in the hospital after he had a face that looked like what I sent you when he decided to kiss a cottonmouth snake he caught on the mouth. He kept it in a pillowcase for a couple of days to show his girlfriend. And there's a fucking great picture of him right before he kissed it.
He's
He's
fucking
like,
butt fuck.
doing the devil horn, sticking out his tongue like, yeah! And the fucking after shots, unbelievable. I'll put those up on the Facebook page so y'all can see.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm so sad that I now no longer have a chance for straight A's.
No.
I feel really good, like I might have picked up on something special you did.
John, Mark, and Lyle got 2 points a pop on that, though, because it was the Florida Daily
Real
Dubs.
happy for him. Real fucking happy.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Immediately in trub. Not
Okay.
kissing a cottonmouth snake in trub, but in trub. What the fuck?
next-
What? Aren't there
Why are people so stupid?
Aren't there actual deeds that you can do to get laid or to make your friends go right on, bro? Don't we have? I mean, listen. We're all dudes. We were all at one point, probably 20 or 30 points throughout our life. We have all done something real stupid and real dangerous to make our friends laugh. So I get it, but. Well, maybe I just explained the whole fucking thing. I guess I get it. End of story. Yeah. I get it,
All
dude.
right.
I get you, bro.
Question 2. Surveillance video in Phoenix, Arizona captured an argument between a man and a woman a few weeks back. The man had just informed his girlfriend that he was HIV positive. This was her response. I sent you guys the clip over the
shit.
Facebook.
Okay. No spoilers when you see it. I want to
No, the title kind of says it all.
want everybody to see.
Yeah, it does. There's not a lot I can do about that. But yeah, watch the video.
Very inappropriate music. But we may as well play it. There's nothing else. He's on a bike, and she straight up mows him the fuck over.
All right, that's pretty fucking terrible. But wow, there's a go.
Does
fast
he
forward.
move?
Yeah,
that,
fast
he
forward.
gets up.
No, fast forward. The best part is the last part when he gets up. Watch.
Okay, someone else approaches him on a bike. He's like sitting there dazed and confused. Getting up now. Here comes another biker, a couple bikers. And he's stumbling to get up. He's on both feet, struggling, hobbling the fuck back home. Yeah, and he goes the fuck down. Oh no.
It's like, how much worse can my life get?
He has AIDS. His girlfriend almost broke his fucking hip in two. He's trying to get back home, and he falls hard. Now, the way I described that, you got to watch it. He takes half a block to fall, by the way. God, what? I guess... Yeah, there's going to be tempers. There's going to be passion. You just found out that you very likely have AIDS, right? I mean, your lover tells you that, listen, I've got AIDS, and we've fucked, so go get tested. It's not a guarantee, but you probably have it. Holy shit. But now she's got to be spending at least a good chunk of the rest of her life. Well, okay, not the rest of her life, but she's going to take, I mean, that is attempted, they're going to get her with something. That is definitely first-degree assault or vehicular assault. She's looking at possibly 10 years.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
Yeah, that's not something.
That is a passionate reaction. Well, I don't even know how to feel about that. There's so many things going on.
Yeah. You, Ron and Lau got that correct for a point of pump.
All right. Good for us.
Question 3, there's
what was John Mark? What was John Mark saying, thinking he was on mute?
John Mark?
What was out there?
What the fuck?
What?
John Mark?
What's going on?
Adam Eagle here. All right, moving on.
I forgot that I was not on mute and I was doing stuff.
We love it when you forget that.
Question 3. There's a group of women that have organized a political movement recently. There's getting a lot of background noise here from somebody.
Yeah, I think it's dinner time at the John Mark
I was on mute, damn it. I was on mute.
Yeah, clearly. Question 3.
There's a flying dinner saucer.
There's a group of women that have organized a political movement recently. If you vote for anyone but Trump, they'll send you nudies. I'm going to give you a little example here. They're called Tramps Against Trump. The real thing.
That is snappy.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's coming over text or?
Yep.
Oh, there it is.
Ron, John Mark, and Lau, you all got that correct for a point of pop.
Very attractive.
Yeah.
Very attractive. I think that's cute. That's a cute political activism. There are plenty of people out there that really don't give two shits about who's president. And, if you think about it, those are really the people. If you're truly politically motivated and you really believe in these people that we elect, those really are the people that you should go after, right? The ones that just don't give two shits. Like, I don't give a shit. Well, okay, I'll vote for him.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right.
I suppose they need some sort of proof that you voted.
God, I didn't get the details on that, just the broad strokes. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Got to the thumbnail and said, that'll do.
A story.
All right, let's see. You all got that correct for a point. That puts Lyle, he's got 4 fucking points right now. Lyle hasn't missed a beat yet.
Shit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
The king is back. Crippler's back.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, question 4. A university in China has spent nearly $1 million installing surveillance systems into their classrooms and dorms to ensure that students are studying hard.
Nice. Very nice.
Ron, you got that correct?
You
Boom.
know, they were all straight A's, except for the first one, yeah?
That's true, yeah. They were all almost all straight A's. Fuck you, first off. And second off, congratulations, Lyle.
Yeah, wow, that's a clean fucking sweep.
No, Lyle did not get
I missed that one. I didn't miss that one.
Only you got that one right, Ron.
Fuck you, stupid. Yeah, only I got that. Still, pretty damn good.
Yeah,
It's been like 10, 12 episodes.
I love the contrast between the picture of the fucking idiot dipshit that kissed the snake and that cute chick showing her titties. Life. It's polarizing. There's a lot of range in this old crazy thing we call life. Another solid list.
Thank you. I don't know if you guys have read my Facebook updates lately, but I've had a fucking terrible few days.
You did. Why don't you share?
Cat like sick or something?
Yeah, I fed my cat some shit she's never had before, and it apparently just eviscerated her tum-tum. Like, I fucking came into my room, and I was like, why does it smell like poop in here? And I'm looking all over the floor for poop, and I'm like, there's no poop, I'm good.
And why
I
does it
slowly
feel
rise
like
up to the bed. Oh my God! I mean, I can only imagine my bed. I'm trying to put it into something that you can grasp, Ron, like a visual that you maybe are familiar with. The only thing I can fucking describe it as is what that poor girl's closet floor probably looked at, like after you shit your pants. It was so. I had to throw away a bedspread. Like there was no salvation.
No, I feel you. Sometimes you just gotta throw it away. That's just the easiest afternoon. Throw it away. I feel you. And anytime you change food, you really have to ease them into it, whether it's cats or dogs, because they will just fucking explode, and it is unpleasant for all concerned.
Yeah, so it's happened. It's happened three times, man.
Oh. That's tough. Yeah. That is trouble.
That's so weird. But considering how tough dogs' digestive tracts are, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you would think a dog wouldn't have as tough a time, but every time I've ever done that, it is 3 or 4 days of you get them the fuck out every 3 hours on the hour.
Well, the trick is with dogs is he actually just makes half and half. Half of
you got to wean them up to it. You can't just dump something new. Yeah. It's true.
Dude, I thank God for my roommate. If I held her up, my cat up, not my roommate, and she fucking trimmed the butt hair off my cat, like the poop that was clung to it, and so now my cat has like this retarded butt haircut going on. It looks so dumb.
You want to talk about this roommate at all?
No, I mean, a friend of mine a few months back was like, hey, I may be in between places in a bit, and would you mind if I rented a room? And I was like, totally, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't hear anything. And then, like, I get a call on a Thursday, and she's like, I'm so sorry, but my apartment fell through. Can I move in on Sunday? And I'm like, holy fuck.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Did she take my room?
She took your room.
So you got 2 roommates now?
I do.
I just got a brand new roommate.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that.
She is fucking hilarious. I adore her. She's a 21-year-old gal, and I just met her. So this past weekend, I hosted a fundraiser. Maybe I mentioned that on the last episode. I don't remember.
Yeah, for Adam Eagle.
Yeah. Well, Adam Eagle was one of many performers, but you walked away from that show remembering one thing. Adam fucking Eagle.
Right?
Motherfucker.
Why?
Oh my God.
It was a good show, dude.
It was a variety show. So I set up a little corner up on stage. It looks a lot like my studio. Looks like the Spacepod, and it was basically me in my underground bunker doing a paranormal talk show, except this time we were doing something fun where I was focusing on a long-forgotten variety show that was misunderstood and canceled after 1 season. And the whole shtick was I would do these little introductions, and then my radio show becomes what you're seeing there on the stage. One of those things was Adam Eagle singing America by Neil Diamond. Now, if that wasn't amazing enough, he performs a razzling routine with another one of the hosts and actually throws a dude through a table smacks him with a chair whilst wearing razzling underwear. It was amazing. It was an amazing time. Lyle was there. He was in the front row. He got some first-hand pawn by one Adam Eagle.
That was great. It was funny. I actually got a text from Adam Eagle saying, I got the chance to touch it.
Yeah.
I was like, right, dude.
It was pretty awesome.
It was. As he was singing, he was hyping the crowd, and he didn't see me because lights. When
you can't see anybody when you're on stage.
You can't see anybody.
And he came
right to me, and I'm like, "What's up, brother?" And he's like, "Oh my God!" And he pointed his hand out, kind of like E.T. And then I went to the old palm thing. Yeah, it was awesome.
It was a great show, and we raised a lot of money for local scholarships, and that was all put together by our special Solid Little A, which we have not had on this program in way too long.
I miss her.
We need to get her back on. We just put up a rerun not too long ago with her on it, and it made me realize how long it's been since we've had her on. It might be since that show aired. Jesus. But anywho, so the second night, one of the girls that came with Veda was a friend of Veda's, and her name's Morgan, and she had a great old time. And afterwards we were kind of talking, and somebody mentioned that she was looking for a place, and I was getting down to the wire because I had a few people that were this close, but it wasn't working out for one thing, and there were a handful of Spacepod fans that actually emailed me and wanted to live with me, and God bless them. And one of them, we were really talking seriously about it, but there is something just a little unappealing about them having to move. I mean, they were moving across the fucking country to just take a chance on living with the monster, and I felt the pressure on that. You know what I mean? I felt like
they were all women, weren't they?
They were all women. 90% of actually everyone that wanted to live with me has been a woman. Why do you say that?
You have an allure.
Well, I got to say, though, this girl, she's not into me. I think she, according to her own words, actually, she's probably 70 to 80% lesbian.
Okay.
With a dash of fucking dudes in between. But she's fucking hilarious. We hung out a little bit after the show, and I was like, I like you. You're hilarious. You want to move in? Yeah, I need a place. She moved in like the next week. 3 days, I got the room ready. She was painting it, and she's living here.
Which room is it?
Where the old Spacepod was.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
That room is nice and roomy when you get the 9,000 pieces of equipment that I had in there. I remember we used to cram in there.
Yeah.
Once I got everything out of there, I was like, holy shit, you can get 20 people in here now. I couldn't believe how much bigger it was. Yeah.
You got to take a picture of it. Go ahead and fucking give us a little twist and twirl.
I thought for sure we had like 6 in there at one time at once.
I think you're right, because I think we had the Sights girls in there. And I think John Mark sat out, but we had the Sights girls in there one of the nights, I know, after Extra Life.
Yeah, we had them both in there.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about the
There was one time where there was probably 8 people in there, I think.
Yeah, we had Nathan and Trish and Christina once.
Oh, the drunk. Did we ever post that episode?
No, we never did. It was very revealing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That's right, because we were talking about Mike the Headless Chicken, and then we later did an actual episode on Mike the Headless Chicken. We should put that up as a bonus episode. I'll go through it and make sure there's
We should
nothing.
Patreon.
It should be a Patreon thing.
That should be. We need to get on that, too, because they're loyally giving us money. We haven't done jack shit. Well, that's not true. We're putting out the podcast every week. But still, we would like to do something special for them. But anyway, that's how we met. So it's like the coolest thing so far to come out of that entire experience of doing that benefit show was getting a pretty kick-ass roommate. I really enjoyed having her around.
Has she listened to the podcast yet?
I don't think so. We haven't really, honestly, she just moved in, so we haven't really gotten too deep. Mostly when we've been hanging out, there's been a lot of stuff going on around here.
Deep, just the tip so far, Ron.
Yeah, she literally just the tip. I should probably get her on the show at some point. She's fucking hilarious. She's super witty, and she would definitely go toe to toe with everybody on the show. I promise. I promise you that. We'll arrange that sometime in the not too distant future. Sit in for a Mad Lib or something. But anyway, so yeah, I've got my own roomie situation, and then of course with Kristen living downstairs, 80% of my mortgage is being paid now.
Word up, son.
Sassy lass. Yeah, it is only girls that seem to want anything to do with living here. I bet that a lot of people just think I'm some old perverted fucking dude because I'm only surrounded by young, attractive girls.
Yeah.
And I guess I am an old, horny dude, but it's not like I go seeking young, attractive girls out. They
kind of come to you.
Yeah, they do come to me. But and it's not like I'm fucking them all, right?
Just 20%.
Not all of them. Anyway, moving on. I did want to mention, speaking of all the doings that have been happening around here, the nude show. I talked about the nude show on the last episode. Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second one was a slightly different vibe.
Oh, no.
A smaller crowd, and this time we had 2 dudes. The first time we had 3 very attractive young ladies modeling. This time we had 2 dudes and 3 or 4. A couple of the girls that came last time modeled again. Then we had a couple of new ones that were completely naked. And
I think it was 3, and then 3 people just decided to get naked anyway.
that is what was fucking interesting. Is
kind of what it was.
About an hour, maybe an hour and a half into it, we had 5 people that were supposed to be nude, and that just inspired other people to start taking their clothes off. Wow. My friend Siri was out there. I looked out the window. I was like, Is Siri got her tits out? She was standing outside, and then I looked around, and there were 2 or 3 girls out there that had taken their tops off and were down to their underwear. Maybe they were completely naked. At one point, there was at least 8, maybe 10 people naked or partially naked here, and most of them just showed up to enjoy the show. They weren't part of the show. They just thought, you know what, fucking A. There's 5 or 6 naked people here. There's about 20 or so other people here. I'm going to get naked. And at one point, I would say at least a third of the people here, maybe a little more, were naked or partially naked.
That's fucking crazy.
It was an amazing time, wow. I had to say.
Go ahead. I just wanted to say, it fucking seems like your life is going through this metamorphosis of times.
It's kooky. And it's great. It is. It's sort of like, well, I built this thing. I worked hard for it. Leah fronted the money. She paid all the fucking bills while I was doing all the work to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
And then Dollface helped me get a lot of this stuff off the ground, especially with the magazine. And they're off on their own adventures, and now it's just me. And I got help with Veda and Chad and Lauren and a couple other people doing the magazine. The gallery still is kind of just me for the most part. People helping out here and there, but it does seem like it's become this thing where I'm looking at it. Like some nights I'm laying in my bed staring at the ceiling thinking, what the fuck was that night? I mean, in a good way. Like
Sure.
it's nothing but positive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting a lot of attention. It's getting a lot of press. I mean, you guys know me. I've been doing shit for a long time, doing the podcast, doing the band, doing comics, doing art. Nothing has gotten exposure like doing this fucking gallery. So it has been quite an adventure.
How are you going to top the nude show?
I'm actually glad it's over because I was a little apprehensive of it. I don't look at it as topping it. I sort of look at it, like we do with Extra Life. Remember the year where Extra Life kind of snowballed into you and Aaron doing the whole Seahawk thing, and that blew up, and then you guys raised $500,000 fucking dollars?
Yeah, that was insane.
The next year, you're like, okay, well, our goal is 10,000. It's not like you got to top it. It's just it's you're adding to your life experience. You're adding to what you're putting out into the community. It's all part of it.
Sure.
You will not top the nude thing except by doing it again. We will do this again because people know what it is. I guarantee the next time there'll be 20 people here naked. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, people from Seattle and Spokane were calling me for interviews in their publications because there's not really anything going on like that there, let alone in conservative little old Wenatchee. But it was an amazing experience, and doing this whole gallery thing, I've met so many people, and it's been a very interesting time for me. And I'm single now, so it's been a great way to meet people. Not just, and I'm not talking about hooking up, but I've got, when it comes to relationships, I am open and
vulnerable.
It's just a different place than I've ever been in my entire life on all levels.
Yeah.
And I've really been enjoying it, and because splitting with Leah was rough. I went through some rough fucking times, and it's still rough on a lot of levels. It's still fresh. But I'm so thankful that I have this family of weirdos that have come around this place, and I've worked fucking hard for it. And anyone that's been around here knows that I've been busting my ass for this thing, and I still do. And I look like I'm 10 years older than I am because I never fucking sleep, and it's still one of the most amazing times of my life, and I'm just trying to keep up with it. But anywho, it was a long-winded way of saying, I got a roomie, and the nudie show was awesome, but it was so fucking inspiring to see people just get naked because other people were naked. Yeah. And anywho, let's get moving on. What else?
What would it be? Kind of a throwaway to plug your Wednesday show, the author?
Well, by the time this comes up, it will be. But I will say this. We got Sharma Shields coming to the gallery on Wednesday. This is a brand new thing we're doing, Author's Night. And on Wednesday, Sharma Shields is a author from Spokane. She wrote a couple of books, but the one we're focusing on, the one I'm most excited about, is the Sasquatch Hunter's Almanac, and she's coming to do some Q&A. She's going to read from it, and it's a great book. She's a really, really good writer. She's bringing, I don't know if it's her sister, but Chris Shields, maybe it's a sister-in-law or some other relative, I don't know. But she writes YR fiction and erotica, and so it's perfect that they're coming because we have the nude show as the backdrop, and they're going to be here Wednesday. By the time this comes up, it'll be over. But I will get Sharma on the show later, so it's worth bringing her up now, and maybe I'll even interview her in person and just stitch that into a show, or maybe we'll. Boy, you know what I should do is actually, because I am going to do a brief Q&A where I interview her, and then I'm going to turn her loose to whatever crowd shows up and to do some readings. That might be a fun thing to just get some audio of, maybe even some video, and put it up as a Spacepod bonus material. If not, part of a future podcast. But either way, we'll probably get her on the podcast because I'm dying to know how she even got onto anything related to Sasquatch, let alone this charming little story that she wrote. So that is coming up on deck. Let's end with Christopher's Hollywood Gets Proved.
Estupendo. I got some fucking interesting
Toilet.
John Mark, do we need to start sending you stories?
No, I had a bunch of shit and I sent it to save to the Spacepod bullshitting and stuff, but it's just it's weeks and weeks old now.
Well, don't send it to there. Just bring it to us on the show.
Evernote.
Yeah.
It's much funner to do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to save it. I've got 4 different fucking places I save shit, and it's just sometimes I try to bring it up, and it just doesn't seem like it's flying with what we've got going, and then it's whatever, fuck it. I don't know. I'm just tired.
This is actually a good time to. I was going to say this, but this is a good time to bring up something that I've been planning, and I don't know. We can talk about this. You guys can decide maybe if we should do it as episodes or bonus episodes for our patrons, but I want to do something where it's just me and John Mark, one episode, and then one that's just me and Chris, and then one that's just me and Lyle. And I'll steer the show like I always do, but it's just us. That way you get more out of. It's kind of like remember when Kiss released their solo album? You got to focus on each individual star. I think our audience would really enjoy focusing on more you guys for a couple episodes.
Huh.
That sounds fun.
It may not sound like an interesting thing. Trust me, it will be interesting because the dynamic will be different.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's something that we'll be working on in the future. So you will hear more of John Mark eventually. Okay, so Chris, what do we got for Hollywood Gets Probed?
Okay, so we have 2 different alien movies to look forward to, and I do mean look forward to. First off, Ridley Scott's doing his Prometheus sequel. Neil Blankoff, the guy that did
Blomkamp.
Thank you.
Yep.
The guy that brought us District 9, and also what was the? I didn't
Elysium.
No, what was the one with the?
Chappie.
Thank you.
He did Elysium and Chappie.
Oh, I didn't know he did Elysium. Okay.
Chappie feels fair. Now, which
He's
one was
making
Elysium? Was that the one with Matt
That was
Damon?
the one where they had the orbital station where all the rich people lived.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw that. Was that good?
Yes.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty fucking great. He's making Alien 5. It's gonna have Sigourney Weaver in it.
Sigourney.
It's also here's what's interesting though. It's gonna disregard the last 2 franchise movies. So 3 and Resurrection are gonna be like it never happened. It's gonna take place after Aliens. It's gonna have Hicks in it. He's still alive. Yeah, all these actors are on board. Ridley Scott.
Wait a minute. That wasn't.
Hicks was
Correct me if
killed
I'm wrong, but wasn't Sigourney in 3?
Yes.
And Resurrection?
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is coming straight from Sigourney. Yeah, they're just going to act like I'm fucking in. I'm so in on this because I love where Aliens left off.
Did you guys? I honestly, I've seen them all, but I don't remember 3 or Resurrection. Were those
sucked.
not?
3 sucked.
So they're doing this because they know that they dropped the ball with 3 in Resurrection. Yes,
I mean
Resurrection
they have to be. I think Resurrection was fun. Don't get me wrong.
I don't remember it at all.
I fucking had a great time with that movie. It's not a great movie, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's got Winona Ryder in it, and it's got but it plays off of 3, like the events that happened in 3. That could be why they could be just going a different path,
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think that's going to be fucking fascinating. Let's see, Kill Bill 3. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so now the little girl that played that daughter of the black girl she killed is old enough to get revenge. So he's waited a lengthy enough time where
that
could be close to 20
makes me feel really fucking old.
Yeah,
Bill, that the kid in Kill Bill is old enough to slice people's fucking heads off.
Well, I posted. I think I might have made this comment on the thing that Christopher posted or liked or something that is. I just hope that the Quentin Tarantino that is the Quentin Tarantino that I used to know as a director directs this, and not the guy who made Hateful Eight, because that movie fucking sucked.
I heard such mixed reviews on that.
I don't understand why so many people hated the Hateful Eight. I want to talk about this. Let's put this on pause because I don't want to
fucking
interrupt
boring.
Chris's flow. But let's talk about that in a little bit.
That's really all I've got. Those two things.
Okay, well, first of all, before we get on to Hateful Eight, you mentioned Winona Ryder. I just showed Veda. She'd never seen Heathers. Have you guys all seen Heathers?
Yeah, a long time
Oh,
ago.
of course.
It's an amazing movie to watch now because it's really dated in the late 80s. I think it was late 80s or early 90s at that. I think late 80s.
Yeah, it was late 80s. Yeah.
Super dated on one hand, super fucking relevant on another. I advise you all, it's on Netflix streaming. I advise you all, if you haven't seen it, and I was actually kind of worried to show it to somebody who's 22 because this is from a different fucking. I mean, it's like showing somebody old timey cartoons with "Shut up, Muggsy, get in the back of the car," and you know, people are like, "What the fuck are they talking like that for?" You know, it's like you kind of got to explain that it was a different time, but she loved it. So I think it does play. Even though it is.
Suicide, don't do it.
There's so much to it. It's such an unbelievable. Oh, at the fucking time that movie came out, I mean, it's kind of shocking now in some parts, but at the time that it came out, just the vibe of it, you know, it's like, what is this? Is this because it's so dark and so silly on some levels that it's just like, you don't know what to make of it, but she loved it, so I highly recommend anyone that has not seen Heathers, check that shit out. But let's go back to Hateful Eight. So where did we cut off? I think I was talking about I liked Hateful Eight, but nowhere near Kill Bill, certainly nowhere near Pulp Fiction, but I did enjoy it thoroughly. And Chris, did you see it?
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I have a replica Hattori Hanzo sword.
No. Have you seen Hateful Eight?
Hateful Eight.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it yet.
All of a sudden,
Really?
we made up for it.
Death.
Huh.
Death.
And it's gone.
I love how you get slightly higher every
I have
time.
to. I have to. It's a pitch thing. It's not a volume thing. Anyway, so you haven't seen Hateful Eight. Lyle, you see Hateful Eight?
Yeah, dude, I'm not a movie buff, so I don't really, you know, when you guys talk about movies, I don't fucking know what the fuck you're talking about, but it is one movie I've seen, so I could actually say something about it. I actually liked it, and for the reason being that it was it made you feel like you were sitting watching a play, you know, like on a stage.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought. It was like a one act, one scene play.
And then when you're playing it back in the Western days, I mean, that's kind of, you know, it brought more of that to it too. So it was like a Western. You're watching it on stage.
Yeah, I get why you were bored with the John First of all, it didn't need to be 3.5 hours long. It didn't. There's no question.
No.
Shave an hour off of that, and I think you still have plenty of movie to dig into. But I loved the bit with the door, like close the goddamn no, you got to hammer, god damn it. Every time someone came into I loved that shit. I loved the characters. I love that they're all stuck there. I love that cozy, snowed in one location, like The Thing. There's a lot of Twilight Zone episodes that are all just like 5 or 6 people.
Right. Literally everything that you're saying that you like about it, I hate it.
Well, let me ask you this: did you like The Thing?
I did.
But wasn't one of your favorite things about The Thing that they were all stuck there and they're all snowed in and there was just like this group of people and there wasn't a crazy amount of exposition, there wasn't a crazy amount of plot, it was just characters sitting in this room trying to get to the next fucking day.
Well, I think that what I liked about The Thing, if you want to like compare the two as far as people trapped in one spot, basically, I feel like either Carpenter or his DP did a good job of making the base feel like a character in itself, right? Sure. And so even if you were just in this one little base, you still felt like you were moving throughout the place and you were in more than just like one room. Yeah. In the Hateful Eight, it's like I felt like I was in this one shitty cabin that was not interesting to look at the whole time, you know?
Right. Oh, well, and that is life in that time. Nothing was interesting. It was dirty and woodsy.
I know, but I just like I hadn't seen a Tarantino movie in what, years? Yeah. And Django is okay. But it's like, I really want him to do something more like fucking Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill. Not exactly like that, but something more interesting. Like, what I like about his films is that they had style, like the soundtrack
And they were fun.
Puts you in a place.
No matter what was going on, they were fun. Like even Reservoir Dogs, which is a fucking brutal and in some scenes quite sickening movie, it's still fun. You know, the soundtrack, the way it was shot, the characters, the dialogue, it all stays fun. And even Pulp Fiction is fucked up. You know, there's some fucked up shit happening in that movie, but it never stops being fun.
I also didn't feel like the characters. I wasn't really impressed with the characters. I thought the dialogue was a little stale. I don't know. I just didn't like it.
What I liked about it was it did give you that claustrophobic feel. Yeah. You know, kind of like The Thing, but it made the tension for the whole story plot line that more effective.
I just loved that it was so many huge chunks of it were happening in like real time. You know, it was just like dude sitting over there playing chess by the fire. This conversation's happening over here. You don't know what the fuck is going on. You don't know who's who. You don't know why they're there. You know, there's very little setup to it, and then especially considering where it ends up. But anywho, I wouldn't put it up there with his top 4 or 5 films. But what is that? I mean, that was number 8, wasn't it? Wasn't it his eighth film?
Yeah.
Didn't he say he's only doing 10? Isn't that his shtick? Or
I don't know.
I think he said he's only doing 10 movies.
I think he said something like that, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah. So one of those are going to be a Kill. 3 of those movies are going to be Kill Bills. Interesting. That says a lot about what. I mean, listen. Of all the movies, now Quentin Tarantino is a genre prodigy. He grew up watching kung fu movies and horror films and black action movies, and he puts all that shit in blaxploitation, what they call it, and he puts all that shit into his movies. Foxy Brown and all that shit. He loves those genre movies, and he loves playing with them, and he loves throwing them all together. Nothing encompasses that like the Kill Bill movies. It has everything.
Yeah.
Right down to being, scored by the RZA from Wu-Tang Clan. But there's everything to love about those movies to me, and the mingling of the sort of spaghetti western feel with the Asian shit. I was ass deep. I was balls fucking deep into Asian cinema and spaghetti westerns the time that movie came out. So when I saw it, it almost blew my tiny mind hole apart. I could barely contain like that first opening scene, and when it goes in, it inexplicably goes into anime. I was like, this is a motherfucker that is doing. He's a kid who he's like Del Toro, right? When he makes movies, he makes the movies that he wanted to see as a child, as a little boy before the weight of the world crushed his spirits and creative ambitions. He's doing the things that he wanted to see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Quentin Tarantino film where big-tittied girls are riding on dinosaurs. It's the kind of thing that he does that is over the top, and yet it is believable enough in its own world, right? Like even Inglourious Bastards, the ridiculous shit that happens there. It's an alternate reality, that movie, but it works. I thought it worked brilliantly in those. But see, I think. Now, he was always good. Tarantino was always good at setting the tension. But I think that he's focused more on that in the last several films than the dialogue, the snappy dialogue. I mean, he's proved his points when it comes to that snappy back and forth dialogue, right? The pop culture based dialogue. Very Kevin Smithy in a lot of times. They're very similar in a lot of the ways that they construct their dialogue. Whether they just go on a tangent about Star Wars or Burger King, whatever. I love that, and that was totally new, but I think he'd kind of done that. He'd done that to death, and so I always kind of feel for the dude in terms of I'm Quentin Tarantino, and I made a living out of being Quentin Tarantino, and yet I can't keep doing Quentin Tarantino. And I liked The Hateful Eight because I thought it was just enough of him, but also something that where you can say, well, that could have been almost any director,
Yeah.
But I totally get not loving that movie, but I don't. I was surprised how many people just flat out hated it. It was just like fucking. I think that might come down to running time. more than anything. I think that if you shaved, like I said, 40 minutes or even an hour off that movie, you'd have a lot more happy campers. Anywho, anything else before we get on out of here? Ron at
I got nothing. I need to go watch Kill Bill again now.
Yeah. I just love that when she goes into whenever anybody goes into kill mode, it's like
See, that's what I'm talking about. Style.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of
things you
style in the
remember,
Hateful
you know?
Eight. It was just a different thing, you know. I mean,
Yeah,
like
but
I
there's
said,
nothing like that. You
like
don't
I said,
remember shit like that.
Kill Bill was him at his Tarantinoist. he can't do any more than that, and I think that's why the films after that were much more subtle. What was the next one? Wasn't it Inglourious Bastards? I think that was what was after Kill Bill. I can't remember anything in between. Maybe there was, but
Grindhouse.
Yeah, Kill Bill
Grindhouse,
2,
yeah. But
and
even
then
that,
there was
not terribly
Grindhouse.
stylized. It was pretty fucking straightforward. It really felt like it could have been one of those 70s road vengeance movies, you know? I mean, there was some cartoony shit in there a little bit, but not like Kill Bill, not like Pulp Fiction, or even Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Anywho, Ron at boronfilms.com, period. We still haven't set up that website. The forum is still there, thespacepod.yuka.com. You're welcome to peruse it, but we will not be adding anything to it. Find us on Facebook, or just wait until we get our website set up. There are places out there to stream us online. I know a lot of people use the play button or the download button on our forum to download the show, but there's plenty of places that do that. Just do a quick Google. I think there's one called Pod Net or Pod...
Podnut.
Bust a pod nut, folks. I don't remember what it is, but you'll find it. There's a couple of them out
Bust
there.
a Podnut.
If we ever kill this and start a new podcast, it'll be called Bust a Podnut. Tune in next week. We will be talking about 9/11. Until
Yes.
then, take care of ourselves and your other.
Nuts.
Bye, guys. Take care of ourselves and your other. All right. Good night.
Good night, guys. Bye.
Good night.
Stumbling to get up. He's on both feet, struggling, hobbling the fuck back home. Yeah, and he goes the fuck down. Oh no.